Uh, Hi, welcome back to Light Dreams. My name is Adesoy Walua, and I'm so glad to have you here. So, today we want to talk about something that Abba has really been putting on my heart to share. And I have tried to share this, with a lot of people at various platforms I found myself, but I like to do that on here. But before I do, let's read from Genesis chapter 41 from verse 33. You could go read the entire chapter, in your quiet time. Now, therefore, let Pharaoh select a discerning and wise man and set him over the land of Egypt. I read up to 36. Let Pharaoh do this, and let him appoint officers over the land to collect one fifth of the produce of the land of Egypt in the 7 plentiful years. And let them gather all the food of those good years that are coming, and store up grain under the authority of Pharaoh. And let them keep food in the cities. Then that food shall be as a reserve for the land for the 7 years of famine, which shall be in the land of Egypt, that the land may not perish during the famine. So, yeah, that's the word of the Lord. And I just pray that God will shine lights on this video and in your heart so that you will even hear things I'm not saying, and especially the things He wants you to hear. So, um, what I want to talk about is the answer to dreams, or rather, how to respond to dreams. So, you know, many people wake up from dreams. This could also be you. It has been me for some time before I found out what to do. The first thing we instinctively, depending on the kind of dream it is, we just go praying, and then we either rebuke, accept, or align, whichever we are led to do at the time. Yeah, but I find that most of the time we miss out on one very important thing, which is to do what God is saying to do in the dream. So if you notice, when so this whole chapter speaks about how Pharaoh had a dream, needed somebody to interpret it, and then Joseph did, and then told him what to do. The answer to dream is not prayers. Now, before you begin to wonder, but just hear me out. The answer to dream is not prayers, except prayer was the instruction or the thing shown to you to do in the dream. Let me break it down. So yes, it's good to pray when you wake up, provided that okay, you are doing it seeking for revelation, understanding, you know, and clarity. But for instance, you can't have a dream where you saw yourself. I'm trying to come up with a very quick example. So maybe you saw yourself digging a hole, and as you were digging the hole, the debris, like the soil that was coming out, was coming back on you. You get? So if you try to imagine it, it means that it more or less is a play on words. You are digging a hole for yourself, and then you found that as you were digging that hole, you had maybe there was somebody, or there were people cheering you on, as you did. And it's always very nice to be cheered on. Everybody's hailing you like, hey, and then you kept digging, and then you woke up. Now, within the context of this example, God could just be telling you that there's something you are doing that everybody seems to be pleased by, but what you are doing is digging a hole for yourself. Now, in that instance, what you should actually do is to stop that thing you are doing. Simple. Just stop it. But what I find that I've seen a lot is people would continue digging the hole in real life, in their waking life. No due diligence will be done to find out, okay, God, what's this thing that I'm doing that everybody is so happy at? It could even be a trend, it could be a mindset, it could be a perception that everybody believes in, but you believing it is you digging a hole for yourself. Now, in that instance, if you are willing and meek, you could be like, okay, God, that is in prayer. Can you show me what is this thing that I'm doing that is so wrong, and give me the grace to stop it? Especially if it is something that has really grown on you, and you are not you just need God's grace to help you. Because sometimes when God gives us instructions, we just run ahead to go do them, not asking God for the how, because we just feel like we can do it. A beautiful prayer to pray is for God to show you how to do it and to help you, and not to assume anything. So yeah, in that instant, praying, fasting for 365 days, praying, and kabashing for 10 hours may not really help if your intent or your motive for the prayer is that the prayer itself is going to deal with what the dream was saying. No, it won't. You will just have to obey what God is telling you there, which is to stop what you're doing. You can apply this to so many dreams, which I have seen. Like I've seen some dreams that people have had repeatedly, but they just want to pray. You know, in this generation, contrary to popular opinion, prayer seems like the easiest way out. We would rather pray than face the obedience or face the chastening or the what's it called now? How do I put it? Or face the truth as to what needs to be done. Because like sometimes God may not even share things with you until our hearts are willing and meek. Of which, yeah, perhaps as we pray, that can now happen in your heart. But I just want to share with us today. There is a meekness that is intertwined with the courage and wisdom of God that we should hunger for and ask God for, so that when we see things in our dreams, we know that we are to partner with God to get this thing done. And where we don't have clarity, we ask for help. I can give so many examples. So many, even the ones you call nightmares. Maybe you even saw yourself in the coven. Or if you check very carefully, most of the time, God will show you in that dream the very thing you are doing to partake in it. It could be something you're ignorant about. It could be something that you're opening the doors to the devil to do. It could just be anything. You know, most times, like a lot of times. And God will usually show you what you need to do to stop it. Sometimes, too, God will even give you the prayer strategy. Sometimes He will show you worship or praise, depending on the context of the dream, you know. But, 10 hours of speaking in tongues is just easier because, when you are praying, speaking in tongues, fasting, there's this satisfaction to your ego that you're doing something rather than just obeying what God has said. So, let me just not make this video too longer than it already is. The answer to dreams is doing what God has said in the dream, which is what Joseph did. Straight up, he just told Pharaoh, this is the meaning of the dream. This is what you should do. I can imagine that that dream was hard now. I'm sure there would have been a whole lot of national prayer, national day of prayer, stuff and stuff like that. But he just told him straight up. And that was the answer to what God was showing Pharaoh. And mind you, Pharaoh wasn't even a believer. That's food for thought. So that's all I've come to say today. And I hope that this would make you reflect and give you the grace. I just pray that God will give you the grace, to really look at what He's showing you, not without fear, because God doesn't give us dreams to put fear in us. He does it from a place of love, you know, even the ones you feel like are scary. If you would just put fear aside and look at it as a king and a priest, I think we've dealt with something like that. I think in the very first episode on this channel, you would see that every time, the best thing for you to do is to face what God is saying head on and trust in His ability, knowing that you're always victorious right from the cross. See you next time.